Valentine's Day. Joining me today to discuss the beauty of Black couples, the lack of representation of Black love on screen, the false concept of relationship goals, and how they first met is public relations major and proud member of the Hofstra University Women's Lacrosse team and president of the Kappa Phi chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Kayla Robertson, and journalism major and member of the St. John's University lacrosse team, William Will Morris. How are you guys doing today?
Good. How are you? Thanks for
I'm
having
good.
us.
Doing
Thank you
really
for
well.
being here. I appreciate it.
No
Awesome. So
Thanks
problem.
the
for
first question, how long have you guys been together and how did you guys first meet?
um we've been together now for like a little over a year and a half. And we first met when did we first meet? Oh, going going into college, we were both committed to play lacrosse at Hofstra. Um and we kind of
Oh,
met
wow.
through
Okay.
that. So we were kind of the only black people committed to play on the team at the time. So we kind of gravitated towards each other um, then in that sense.
I
And
gravitated first. I'll say that I gravitated first. Put
That's
that out there.
awesome. That's awesome. Is it difficult being the only Black person on a lacrosse team or is it not like that anymore?
I'll say for me, like when we first were at Hofstra, Kayla was the only black girl on her lacrosse team, so it was kind of different because I had two other black kids on my men's lacrosse team. So it was a little bit more supportive on my side, I would say. Kayla, what do you think?
um, it definitely was difficult. I mean, there's not really much of an outlet, when you're the only one. And at times it feels like kind of lonely in a sense. Like there's not really that, like, someone to relate to on your team. But the men's players were really nice, and they like became some of my closest friends. So I had them to lean
That's
on
good.
for support.
When did you guys first know you were in love?
Um, I think for me personally, we were like really close friends. The first year that we met, and like I always say I had a crush on him since I met him. Um, but I feel like it turned into more love after quarantine happened, and we like really spent every single day talking, and we would like literally try to sneak around and hang out even though our parents were like, you need to be quarantined in the house.
And not catch
um,
COVID.
yeah, so we were like actively trying to seek each other out even though it was really difficult too. And I would like always miss him, and I feel like maybe you always miss me
Yeah,
too.
I definitely feel like during the quarantine, just because, like she said, we were like such good friends at school. So then when all that got taken away, you kind of realize like, oh, I miss all the things that I could do at school. Like we used to always get like Popeyes and stuff together. I would text her and be like, Kayla, can you come walk with me to get Popeyes since it was like right across the street from our dorm. So then when you couldn't do all that kind of stuff that you take for granted, then you realize how much you miss it. So I agree with that.
I like that. And I think a lot of people either became closer during the pandemic or further apart because we had
Yeah.
so much time to ourselves and we couldn't go anywhere. So for like however many months that was. So I like that. It made you guys stronger. Out of quarantine, was it difficult when like everyday life started to happen again? Or was it just like, same as it was before?
I feel like it was definitely harder because out of quarantine, when we went back to school, like, yes, we could see each other more technically, but we also had school to worry about and lacrosse to worry about. And everything was still so strict because if one person on our lacrosse team got COVID, the whole team was in quarantine. So that happened a lot of times where like someone on his team got COVID. So like I couldn't see him for like 2 weeks, or like
Okay.
someone on my team got COVID. So that part was difficult, but it was nice to be able to like live down the street from him and be able to see him pretty much whenever I wanted to.
In the 90s and early 2000s, there were so many Black couples on television and in film. Today, it seems as if the only Black fictional couples I see on TV are on Insecure, which has just recently ended. Why is representation of Black couples in the media so important?
Um, I definitely think the representation of black couples is important in the media because it's kind of showing kind of younger black kids like in our generation that there are like black couples that still do exist, and that is something that's like strong and healthy going on. I feel like for me, like being like a student athlete, like when you see a lot of professional like basketball or football players, a lot of them like they might not be like dating someone who's like black necessarily, and obviously that's okay. Everybody is entitled to liking who they like, but it's still important to kind of like show that, you know, black people dating black people is normal and healthy, and that's like still what people do.
And going off of that, I also think it's important to show that like you said, a lot of times in the professional world, like dating white women or um, any other race pretty much is kind of seen sometimes as more high profile. Um, so I think by putting black couples in the media more, it shows how beautiful black women are also, and how we are, if not more, professional and beautiful than other people. And it goes to show like when we see stuff like that, it makes us feel that much happier like about each other too, and
Right.
glad that we have each other because we could relate to that type of thing. Not everybody has the opportunity to see like black couples on TV, and like when you don't see that, you aren't able to translate that into your real life. So it seems more out of the ordinary. So the more and more that black love is shown on TV and like in movies and stuff like that, I think the better for all black men and women.
Right, because I think it affects black women in the sense of like if they're always seeing a black guy with a white girl, it's like, oh, like I'm not pretty. And then I think for us black men, it's like, oh, we're supposed to be with white women or non-black women because that's what is being presented. Or sometimes even in the barbershop, that's what, or the locker room, that's what's being spoken about the most. So it's like, oh, I'm supposed to do this, right? So I think it affects men, black boys and black girls. And I just think representation, it sounds corny, but it really is important because that's what you see and hear and read. Like you think about that when you go home and like when you go to sleep and like as you grow older. So I think it's really important. I like what you guys said. Essence magazine asks 10 black couples what black love means to them. One couple in particular said, black love means everything to me. It's when hashtag black girl magic meets hashtag black boy joy. It's love and adoration, not just for each other, but for your race as a whole. What does black love mean to you guys?
To me, seeing especially like my parents and his parents like are both black couples, and having that like to look at in our lives and seeing black love around, it really just makes you feel special. And it makes, personally for me, it just makes me feel like we are beautiful and we are like the best, and black love is just beautiful and special, and that's something that used to be stripped away from us all the time, um all since slavery and before.
Right.
so
We could
so to
not legally get married. Yeah, that's so true.
exactly, so to see how much it's changed, and how now we are able to really appreciate black love and see it everywhere, I think that's so special. And it it helps foster better relationships with your kids, and creates better family dynamics and everything like that. So I think it's so special.
I agree. And for
Um,
you, Will?
for me, I feel like it's kind of finding like happiness and being able to like share common experiences and things you share in common. And I feel like that's kind of like really unique. I can say in like Kayla and I's relationship, we can kind of relate to a lot of things that go on with each other. And I think that's really special to have someone who can kind of like understand you as kind of on like a human level, and then like understand you as like a romantic like partner. So the two and two going together is what I think is like pretty special.
Yeah, I love that. I think your partner should definitely be your best friend. For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think, I was just having a conversation with a couple of friends right before the Zoom call. Um, do you think that Valentine's Day is kind of like corporate people kind of put a pressure on couples to like go all out and have a extravagant dinner, or like, sometimes we put a lot of like value into like Christmas and Valentine's and different holidays. Do you put that pressure on yourselves as a couple, or is it just like another day to shower Kayla with love? You know what I mean?
Um, I feel like definitely holidays like that are definitely a time to shower Kayla with gifts and stuff like that, even though she says she doesn't like that, but who doesn't like gifts? But I feel like in a relationship and her and I's relationship, I feel like it's more of like the day-to-day things that we do for one another that kind of like is what like you should be celebrating, and not necessarily just like, oh, because it's Valentine's Day that means I have to do this for you. But I feel like it's like an everyday thing that's more important than just like going on out all out in one day.
Right. What about the other 364 days out of the
Right.
year? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so true.
Exactly. And like we well, we used to maybe like our first Valentine's Day, we were like, okay, like we're gonna do all of this stuff, we're gonna buy each other all these gifts. And we realized kind of how stupid it was in the end. Like we spent so much money on like one day when like in reality we would have been happy just like hanging out with each other and spending time with each other no matter what we were doing. And to spend all of that money on one day when we could really just spread it out and do so many more things together instead of going to like a fancy dinner, we could have gone to 10 movies together or something like that. It showed us how like minuscule like the holiday really is. Like it really doesn't mean much. And yes, like of course we're gonna probably spend tomorrow together and everything. But that doesn't mean that we have to break the bank doing that.
I like
Right.
the fancy dinners. I'm the fancy dinner one. I like the fancy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Do
my
you
thing.
think how do you feel about the term relationship goals? Do you think that it's kind of toxic? Is it smaller of a problem than people make it out to be? Do you think?
Um, I definitely say saying like relationship goals. I mean, every relationship is different, and I think it can kind of be toxic and dangerous to kind of like look to other relationships and kind of like think that that's how your relationship should be. So like obviously looking from the outside in, things can look one way, but on the inside it might not always be the same. So I think it's important to just be happy with what you have and kind of understand that everything is not the same, and you have to find happiness and understanding with what you have, and not always look to others and look outwards and look what you don't have.
And
Right.
see like other people like on the internet that you might not even know on social media. And just because they might look good together or seem like they're having the best time of their lives, it doesn't mean that they're truly happy and like they're truly goals or like for real.
Right.
So
And
I
we see
think
that all the time, like with celebrities and
exactly,
influencers. Yeah.
people break up every day and you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. So I feel like if you're comfortable in your own relationship, then you should be your own relationship goals. And like you should be able to find joy and happiness in what you have instead of, like you said, looking at what other people have, you know.
Right. And would that be your advice for single people tomorrow who don't like the holiday, get kind of, sad or maybe even depressed? What is that your advice for single people?
Yeah, definitely, because first of all, like I just said, you don't know what happens behind closed doors. Like even to you personally, you don't know if we're going to get off of this podcast and have a huge fight or something like that. And we might look happy, and which we are, but people don't really know. So just because you see another couple celebrating the holiday, and like I said, the holiday really doesn't mean much. It's not like
Right. It's one
Christmas.
day.
Yeah, it's literally one day. Um, they shouldn't feel pressured to like want to have a relationship just because they see this one day that's like all about love and happiness and feel left out, because their time will come, and it's better to wait for someone that's right for you and not just be stressing about something that really doesn't matter in the long run.
Right. And you're not like less than just because you don't have a significant other or you're not
Yeah.
Exactly.
married. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I would say, I feel like the main, if I were to give advice to a single person on Valentine's Day tomorrow, it would definitely be that the first thing that I think in having a strong and healthy relationship with someone else is like having a good like love and understanding for yourself. So I feel like for me, like before being in a relationship, I wanted to be like comfortable and like feel like healthy and like happy like independently, because I feel like if on your own you can't fulfill those things, and you can't expect to like give that or be like stable for somebody else. So I would take like tomorrow as a day to like celebrate like yourself and like shower yourself with gifts or whatever it is that you want to do, because like you could be your own Valentine. You're with yourself like every single day. So work on yourself, and then open yourself up to others later. That'll be my advice.
That's so true. I love that. I love that. And the last question, in your opinion, what are the three most important things to have in a romantic relationship?
I definitely think trust is number one. Because even going through our relationship, when he will transferred schools, like last year, and we were kind of looking at our relationship like, okay, depending on where you go, like, is this gonna work out? Like, are we gonna do long distance? Like, are we gonna stay together? But we both trusted each other, and that was the one thing that I never had to worry about, was like him going away and like me being like worried or like nervous all the time, because we had a really strong foundation of trust. We were always open and honest with each other. And that's something that really benefited us in the long run, especially with this. So I think that's my number one thing.
Okay.
I would definitely say trust is a big, well, what Kayla said, trust is a big part of it. And I would also say communication and respect. And I think respect is really important, because at the end of the day in a relationship, as much as like you might be like similar to your romantic partner, you're both like independent people who have like your own lives and things going on. So being like respectful of like what other people's like time and what they're doing or like their own agenda is really important, because like obviously in a relationship things can't always like go one way. It has to be compromised. And if you respect the other person and respect like things they have to do, I think it goes a long way.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
my last thing I think, besides those three things, would be just having fun together and laughing together.
Right.
Because life gets boring all the time. And you talk, like, we talk every single day. And but if we didn't enjoy each other's company, or I didn't find him funny, or he didn't find me funny, or we couldn't really laugh together, it would get really old really quick. So I think like finding someone to laugh with, and just finding someone to have those funny moments with, those random moments with, I think that's like one of the most important things too.
Yeah, like that whole best friend thing. Because you know it's for the long haul. So you want to looks fade, certain things come and go, but like that bond that brought you guys together hopefully keeps you, in the relationship and keeps you together. So I like that. I like that. Hopefully people listening are taking notes. Now for some TCP rapid fire questions. The first question, what makes you guys laugh the most?
I think like honestly, we always are like teasing each other.
Okay.
So probably what makes me laugh is just like making fun of him, like in a playful way. Because it really is, we both find like humor in that. Like he'll always tease me, I'll always tease him. Like, and besides that, like what else would you say?
I like being annoying.
You love
Yeah, I like, finding ways to annoy her every single day. That makes me laugh a lot.
Okay. Question, what are three things you guys are grateful for?
Hmm. I'm definitely grateful that Kayla's a really understanding person. I feel like when we go through things, she never like takes it like really personally, and she always is able to kind of like be mature and have a mature like outlook and perspective. I'd say I'm probably the emotional one in the relationship. Like I get like
Okay.
up and down a lot. And she's able to kind of like remain like calm, and I feel like that's works like really well for me because it keeps me calm in return. So I'm grateful for that because she helps me like outside of our relationship too.
I would say I'm grateful for Will being understanding, but also so helpful. When I'm going through something, he's always there for me. Like, just if I need a vent or just talk to someone, or I'm feeling upset, or I'm going through like a crisis and just need some help. Like he's always there for me, and it's like no questions asked. It's like, oh, he's always trying to make sure that I'm okay, and I really
Okay.
appreciate that. I'm really grateful for that.
What would you guys tell your younger selves? 9-year-old Kayla, 9-year-old Will.
I think I would say like be patient, because, you know, in high school, I'm from Long Island, so I went to like a predominantly white high school. There's very few black people in it, and I was always like super insecure, like just because, you know, white guys, you don't get the attention, or like you don't get that when all your friends like do, and all of them are constantly in relationships, constantly like with guys, whatever. And I was always really insecure about that and never thought that I would find someone that really matched me or appreciated me for me. And I would definitely tell my younger self to be patient and know that someone's coming that will love me for who I am and appreciate me, um, and really just make me a better version of myself.
I like that. I like that. And for you,
Um,
Will?
I would definitely tell my younger self, like Kayla said, definitely be patient. Although when I was younger, um, I kind of just like took things as they came. I wasn't really thinking like that far along down the line. But I was just like when people talked about like being in love and stuff like that, that was like such like a foreign concept to me. That was like, oh, like I wonder if like I'll ever like experience that. But I feel like eventually just like through you like going through like your life, like like when you find that, and it's not really something you have to go out and really like search for. And like Kayla said, I went to like a predominantly white school too. So like I didn't really see that many like black like women around me when I was like younger, like in that sense. And I feel like my mom is like someone that I like look up to a lot and I'm really close with. So like I see like as like a black man, we see like a lot of people talking about like protect like black women and stuff like that. And I feel like that comes from like within like black men themselves. Like you can't look for other people to protect black women if black men don't do that. So I feel like in relationships and nowadays, that's really important. I know that wasn't really your question, but kind
No,
of
but that's very relevant. That's very relevant. And hopefully the black men listening can like hear that and like really I think sometimes like we can be like social media activists, or like we say things online, but like, or you just say things but you don't do them. And you really need to like practice what you preach, because I just feel like it's never, black women are like the least protected and the
right,
least, shown love towards. So it's like we can't expect other people to do it because it's not really their responsibility first. It's our responsibility, and outside of our mothers, our daughters, our sisters, like protecting the black women that you don't find attractive or you don't know.
right.
It should start at home first, but I think it should, move past that. So I think that was very relevant, especially to the times that we're living in, for sure.
Right. Like, I think that like stems from like like what you see on like social media and things like that as well. Like I know like it was like trending a couple maybe like a month or two ago, but when Meek Mill had like an album cover, a lot of people were like outraged at what was on the album cover. And like he's like a black male, and a lot of like young black male, they look up to him. So like you see
Right.
that kind of stuff like going on like right before us. So like you said, it's important to like practice what you preach. That's
Where do you guys see yourselves in 5 years?
You want to go first?
yeah, sure. 5 years. I would see myself getting out of law school. I want to
Nice.
go to law
Okay.
school, graduate. So definitely graduating law school and hopefully having a nice good job out of law school. Hopefully that's a plan.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
I think in 5 years that hopefully we'd both be out of law school because I want to go too. But I also hope, like, I don't know, I always say that I want to get married young so that I
Oh,
won't be an
okay.
old mom. But I hope like we can continue to grow our relationship and like it gets to that point in 5 years where we're ready to take that next step, um and eventually get married or be engaged at some point within that 5 year range, whether that's in our last years of law school or after law school. But yeah,
Good
I think
luck,
that's
because I know that bar exam is difficult. So good luck. I think Kennedy took it like 3 times. So good luck with that. And
Fingers
the
crossed.
last TCP rapid fire question: what would you guys name this current chapter of your lives?
a
Mm,
good one. Um,
mm.
I would name this chapter growth because I think I've grown a lot um, throughout college in general. At first, I've experienced a lot of new things, and I think we've grown together a lot, and we've helped each other grow, and like just in general, just becoming the best version of myself, and maybe you becoming the best version of yourself. We've just been growing a lot together and apart. So I think I would name it growth.
I
I like
think
that.
I would name it just scratching the surface, because I like tell Kayla all the time like how excited I am to like, I feel like a lot we have like similar like aspirations and stuff, and like we motivate each other with like the things that we're doing. So I always say like, oh, I feel like we're gonna be like so like successful together. I can't wait to like see like what happens and like how we grow together. So definitely scratching the surface, because I think like things are like really good now, but like as things progress, like they'll be even better. So
Yeah, it's giving power couple. I don't want to place that on you because we just talked about relationship goals, but that's awesome. And then motivating your partner is important because I think maybe like you could be doing well, and then your partner maybe have a different career field, and because you I guess maybe not understand that career field, you don't support that partner. Because I've seen that with some people, like, oh, like, why are you doing that? Like, just stay home, or like, no, I got you. But it's like, no, like, both people should be winning, and not just financially, but like, you're happy, I'm happy. I'm going to your things, you're going to my things, if that makes sense. So I like that. So that
yeah.
was it with the TCP rapid fire questions. Thank you guys so much for joining me on the podcast. I really felt it was important to have this episode on the podcast to highlight and celebrate Black love and beautiful Black couples like you guys and Black couples everywhere. You can follow Kayla and Will on Instagram at Kayla Robertson and William Morris _. Be sure to leave a rating for the Cervantes podcast on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Cervantes podcast YouTube channel and click the notification bell up top so you never miss a new episode. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good one.